Hey, good morning, everyone. I hope everyone is very well. It has been just freaky cold here in Iowa the last couple of days and weeks. We had a record, I think, yesterday of negative 31 with wind chill. So it is not the place that people want to be right now, which is understandable. And for those that have been kind of reading along, go ahead and go to about the 130 marker, and we will continue. For those that are seeing me for the first time, what's up, guys? I hope everyone is again, doing very well. My name is Nick Kleitch. I am the creator of the Life with Nick YouTube channel and the host of the Life with Nick podcast. Just as a quick synopsis, so I can be very direct with you on your time. So my channel is predicated on two things. First off is reading a personal development book a month and also teaching and discussing this. As you can see, there's a variety here that we will work through. I have a couple done already, but essentially all under that umbrella. Could be fiction, could be nonfiction, but just really enjoy the genre, the idea of getting quote unquote better every single day. And just doing that in kind of a non-douchebag way is the way I like to say it. So that's the first piece. The second piece is that I feel like I give voice to everyday people once a month because I am an everyday person. I interview people from all walks of life. And so if this is for you, I'd love for you to subscribe to the channel. That way you can get updates on things. If not, no worries. If it's not for you, totally understandable. So to continue the book read of the month, we are going to be reading the 5 Major Pieces to the Life Puzzle by Jim Rohn. And for those that have been reading along, essentially we have completed the first 3 major pillars to the life puzzle. And today we will be introducing the 4th pillar. And so it's really exciting to get into kind of a new topic of conversation. And so here we go. So just to kind of give a lead into the next piece, the piece is called Results, plain and simple. The author Jim references 2 things fairly regularly in this portion. One is the concept of seasons, and seasons being spring, summer, fall, and winter, and also just farming as an analogy of a sower, and then once that sower sows seeds, those seeds coming through to fruition. So if you have a feeling or understanding for that, this is going to go over much more cleanly. So let us dive in. So the reason for seasons is productivity, and the purpose of our activity is results. Results are the harvest that comes from our past efforts. So if you think about it, we would have a season of work, and that work is preparation before the planting. So spring in this particular case. We're cultivating the land, we're doing the things that we need to do to get that up and going. So when we plant, we can plant effectively. Then we have an off period, which would be the summer, where we're still attending to these things and making sure that the seeds are well nourished and fertilized and all that good stuff. And then there is a harvest period, which is the fall. So work, maintain, harvest, and then off season in the winter is like the general theme of this. So kind of rounding back out to results. So essentially we need a season for work, and we need a season for productivity, and then we also need a season for maintenance, and then we also need a season for harvest and rest. So that cycle is what we're attending to in this video. So if a person has engaged in only minimal activities in the past, he or she should not expect significant results in the present. So to carry on this cycle, the more work outputted within those working and productivity seasons, the more we're going to be able to harvest. Moving on. Results are always in direct proportion to effort. Those who rest in the spring do not reap in the fall, regardless of need and regardless of desire. Results are rewards reserved for those who had the foresight to seize the earlier opportunity. If the opportunity was missed, the reward will be withheld. So he's proposing now basically that if the system that you're using is not working and you're not getting the results you want, life doesn't just give us what we want. It doesn't really give us what we desire, right? Because it's like, okay, if you're not willing to put the work in, you won't get the result for the work. So then he's also saying for those that have the foresight to seize opportunity, their opportunity is going to be much greater than those who missed it, and those rewards will be withheld. So the opportunity of springtime is brief. Opportunity approaches, arrives, and then quickly passes. It does not linger, nor does it pause and look back. Opportunity merely presents itself, and those who respond to its arrival with intelligent activity will realize the full measure of their desired results. So, again, referencing the seasons, our springtime could be long, could be short, could be anywhere in between. However, it is not lingering. It doesn't just wait and wait and wait for us to be ready. We need to be ready for it, and it's consistently coming around year over year. So what does this tell us? Is that we need to do the level of preparation required for us to seize these opportunities as they come up. Now, farming is pretty straightforward in terms of cultivating the land, putting the seed in, maintaining, harvesting, just in this general analogy. But in life, we're not sure when those opportunities will come our way, right? We're not sure 100% when the springtime will come in our business or in our fitness or in our emotional maturity, all those things. Yet it is that daily mental preparation that allows us to cast that wide enough net to bring these in. And if we're casting enough, we will seize on those opportunities. So if our past labors have produced a poor result, there is nothing we can do about it. Asking nature to make an exception to the rules for us, no matter how hungry we are, it won't do that, nor will it permit us to ask for soil in advance. The only thing we can do is prepare for the inevitable arriving of another spring, another opportunity, then plant, nourish, and tend to our new crop as diligently as possible, remembering the painful consequences of the past neglect. These lessons of failure must serve us and not overwhelm us. So then he is alluding to in this particular piece saying, hey, nature doesn't make or give benefit to any one particular person, whether they want to or not. What it's saying is that as it presents itself, we must, again, consistently be prepared to do so. And then if we have poor results, we just need to use that lesson, that painful failure, as a lesson for the future. So it may take a little bit, unfortunately. And this is why they do say that you have to fail often to successes, because through those failure experiences, you're actually gathering what doesn't work. And through enough of what doesn't work, you can find what does work and then leverage that and move forward. So to conclude this first little intro piece, throughout our lives, we will experience a number of springtimes and a number of harvests. Our future happiness is rarely due to just one harvest. Rather, it is a result of scores of individual opportunities which are either well used or sadly neglected. This is why it is so important for us to study results. Checking our results on a regular basis provides us with an excellent indicator of how well we are using our opportunities. So this is kind of motivating, in my opinion, in the sense of if you fail once, the whole world isn't going to burn down. If you fail twice, the whole world isn't going to burn down. But the more that we're cultivating failure to success, the more success we're going to have over the course of time. And so we need to, over enough of a time period, have those positive scores that we're well using these opportunities. But this is why it is important to study, because if we don't even know that they're coming, then we could be missing out on much more. So moving on to the next section here. So how to measure our results. Now we've identified we do have results and we do have a season of productivity and harvest. How do we actually measure that? Now that we understand that we receive results from our activity, how do we properly measure our results? The first way to measure our results is by looking at what we have today. How good a physical shape are we in? How does our bank account look? How is our emotional regulation? How strong is our spirituality? All of these are just vetting and filtering questions to understand what we have today is the result of all the activity we had been doing. Now, there are different kinds of wealth that Jim alludes to: joy, health, love, family, income, experiences, and friendships. If our list of assets is rather small despite our efforts over the last 10, 20, or 30 years of labor, then it may be a good indicator that something needs to change. One area to look at is our current level of activity. We may need to adjust the current level of activity, as increased activity generally leads to increased level of results. So if we're not in a good place right at this very, very second, it could be that we could be doing good work, but we just need to do much more good work. Or we could be doing not good work, in which we would need to obviously make the adjustment for that particular setting. Additionally, we may need to increase our level of skill and or our self-awareness. Lastly, we may need to make adjustments towards our philosophy about money and our attitude about spending. So I kind of threw a lot at you there, but essentially what we're doing is taking today as our stopping point and then being able to measure our results. And then in terms of some of these other pieces that we can look to, if we're not happy with our emotional regulation, our bank account, the physical shape that we're in, or our spirituality, a couple things that can change is our level of activity, our skill development, our self-awareness, and also our philosophy about money and our attitude towards spending. All very good stuff. And I'd encourage you to just pause for a moment and kind of collect that if you so desire. Unless we change how we are right now, what we will always have will be about the same. The same seeds sown by the same sower will inevitably produce the same harvest. For the harvest to change, it may be necessary to change the seeds, the soil, but more likely than not, the sower. Okay? So there's all these variables that we need to keep tabs on. The sower, ourselves, the work we do, the product that we're putting into the ground itself, the environment, and all of those things are in combination to our success. So again, this is why results are so critical, because if we don't ever attend to this stuff, we may be our whole life, or for a good chunk of our life, we could be putting in all this work into the wrong soil and then complaining why it doesn't work and shouting at the world. But we can also make that a successful input as well too. So this is an example. It may be that the sower, us, believes that sowing should be done in the summer instead of the spring. That's a philosophical thing, right? That, it needs to be done in the summer, not the spring. When winter arrives and the sower's needs are great, he or she may be found standing in a barren field, condemning circumstances for the failure of the soil to yield its promised harvest. This may be the ideal time for the misguided sower to measure, to assess the reasons why the soil did not cooperate with the ill-conceived plan. So first off, Jim is telling us, okay, if we do have this failure, we need to take time when the end of that production or produce, my bad. And we need to measure that. And we need to say, okay, here's all the variables that we used this year. We planted in the summer and we didn't quite harvest like we wanted to. So maybe we need to assess and check what was good and what was not. One option for this is for the sower to complain and compile yet another list of reasons for his or her misfortune. That's one option, and that's not the preferred option in this particular case. You'll always run into people, though, in life that have this kind of viewpoint of they did a thing one or two times, and then from the whole rest of their life, they'll say, oh, that doesn't work, I'm going to complain about this and that. Not a powerful personal philosophy and attitude to make progress in life. Now, the other option, and this is what Jim had alluded to, and I kind of put my own piece here, another option is to look inward as the sower and decide that the sower may need to seek out the guidance from an experienced sower to better change his or her results for the following year. So this is where I know in the past I've talked a little bit about this, but finding mentorship, finding leadership that has walked the path that you are trying to walk and not trying to be so egotistical, and I'm telling this to myself as well, to think you have everything figured out. We must always try to gather guidance. We must always try to gather leadership. So then that way we're getting new information and new perspective from someone, again, who has walked the path that we're desiring to walk. This just saves a lot of headaches. The biggest mistake for a sower is to give up and outwardly complain about his or her current situation. Because if we're doing that, we're not making any mental or physical or emotional adaptation to be better in the future. If we're just going to outwardly complain and give up, then we might as well just shut things down. So we must use our time to plan, to labor, to measure, to invest, to share, and to refine past activities and add to our storehouse of knowledge. So kind of what I was alluding to, but really kind of shooting the arrow right in the bullseye here. So time to plan, time to labor, time to measure, time to invest, time to share, and time to refine past activities to add to the storehouse of knowledge. To take a step back, another element that we must attend to when addressing results is to closely look at what we have become through outside influences. So this is where, going back to the soil, I wanted to talk on that just a little bit. I just lost my spot, but we're going to bounce right back. Yes. So we have all that as kind of the first thing, right? We have, again, the soil, the seed, and the sower. So now, outside of all of those variables, we need to then take a step back and look at this other element, and that is, who are we becoming through outside influences? Who are we surrounding ourselves by? Are they bringing us closer or further away from our desired destination? What we have become is also a result of personal changes, whether we have either voluntarily or involuntarily made those over the years. Simply put, to conclude this piece, for things to change, we must change. It is one of life's fundamentals. I'll say that one more time before we get on to the next piece here. For things to change, we must change. It is one of life's fundamentals. Okay, we are now on to we attract what we have by the person we have become. And again, to say that one more time. So we attract what we have by the person we have become. In designing our better future, a major factor of our plan should be on becoming more than what we already are. Everything we have in life, both tangible and intangible, is a direct result of who we are. The answer to the good life lies in becoming more than we currently are so that we can attract more than we currently have. So if this is a very, very new topic to you, what I really want to drill in here is just knowing that we and everyone else has this ability to attract in our lives certain things. And those certain things come through our physical appearance, our physical nature, our personality, our attitude, our philosophy. All of these things that we're building on and working on are like a magnet, and that magnet goes out into the universe, and that universe pulls in things that are in line with those core values, with those actions, with those industries, all of that good stuff. So to kind of repeat this and then drill it home is that we have to understand that we are a magnet in some sense, but then we need to focus on becoming more of a taller and more powerful magnet for the things that we're looking to attract. The more that we currently become, the more attraction we will currently have. So this fundamental gives us cause for both elation in a good way and alarm. The elation comes from the fact that any day we choose, we can begin to make changes within ourselves that will attract even more good things into our life. The alarm, on the other hand, comes from the fact that unless we make those needed changes, unless we convert our errors into new disciplines and our dreams into well-defined plans and intelligent, consistent activity, we will always have exactly what we have now. So when he's making this statement, it's more so a wake-up call to those that are not in a good position right now. So for those that are not in a good position, you're potentially attracting in things to that position, and that can be identity things, that can be personality things, attitude things, work environment things, skill things. All of those things are subject to where we are today, and that is that magnet that we're using. The good news and the elation can be that we can change all of that to essentially rebuild the magnet of attraction from the universe to us. So I don't want to get too spiritual on people today, but it's a really good concept to understand. And I have felt this in my own life that through certain skills that I've developed, more people are apt to either speak with you, want to network with you, want to hear about what is going on in your life, all of these different things. They're curious because you appear to have a good plan and good variables that attract people to you. And so that's kind of the end goal, is that we want to get that really good magnet out to the world. Furthermore, if you're doing good, continue to do good, continue to grow, continue to challenge yourself. So back here, the results will always be predictable, because results are always determined by what we are becoming in the process of becoming. Meaning that if we don't change, we'll have a predictable outcome, but as we change for the better, we'll begin to predict more of that success. Doing more, increased levels of activity, are only half of the answer. Okay? The real answer, or the more powerful second half, lies in becoming more than we are, so that our increased potential becomes an integral part of everything that we do. That is how life gets better. When we get better. We cannot have more without first becoming more. So if you today, spend no more time on anything else, and you are off into the world, and that is it. You never read a book, you never add a skill, you never do any of these things. You will have a predictable outcome for the rest of your life in terms of your output and what you receive. And if you're okay with that, that's totally fine. Everyone has their own kind of situation, but I would challenge you to really look inward on what are some things that I could begin to, again, add to my tool belt as I go out into the marketplace and in the world on how to better serve. And when we're serving better, we can increase our value to then have more of an attraction to us. So that I think is really cool. So not only do we need to do more, we also need to become more through these various mediums. And that is to conclude that little piece. All right, so we have 3 more things, but they're going to go by pretty quick here because I'm about at that 20-minute marker, which is when we're about wrapped up. So I'll do a little bit more reading here. But success must be attracted and not pursued is the title of this. So we're going to carry this magnet concept a little bit further. And this piece I highlighted because I do think it's legit. So maybe it'll give you further clarity on this magnet concept. So personal value is the magnet that attracts all good things into our lives. The greater our value, the greater our reward. Since the solution for having more is becoming more, we must be in constant search for new ways to increase our value. And here's a couple things. So self-control is 1. The practice of discipline, 2. Patience, 3. Planning, 4. Intensity of effort, 5. A wise investment of a good portion of our results, 6. The development of a well-balanced attitude, 7. Consistent activity, 8. And gathering of knowledge, 9. Frequent reading, 10. And a sensible personal philosophy are all examples of ways we can increase our value. So I would encourage you to pause the video, go back, I'll hammer the list one more time, and write these down. So self-control, and then the practices of discipline, patience, planning, intensity of effort, the wise investment of a good portion of our results, the development of a well-balanced attitude, consistent activity, the gathering of knowledge, frequent reading, and a sensible personal philosophy. You write those all out, you rank them, you see how you're doing in all of those said categories, and then now you have an approach on how you can continue to build your magnet through personal value. All right, so one thing to conclude this. Excuse me. It is the acquisition of more value, not more valuables, that greatly impacts us along the journey of becoming. As a final thought, our objective must be to work harder on ourselves than we work harder on anything else, which I think is a very good place. Sorry, I had something pop up here. Very good place to be. So just to kind of expand on that, and we'll get to our final 2. So the acquisition of more value through the practices that we have written out is better than more valuables that we go out and purchase as material goods. Our objective is to work harder on ourselves than we work anywhere else. Okay, the final 2. Better results come from being a better, more equipped person. We become, then we attract. We grow personally, then we advance materially. Unfortunately, the vast majority seems to have this plan in reverse. Their philosophy is, if I had more money, I would be a better person. But that's not the way life is designed to work. Possessing more, so owning more, does not make us more vertically. Again, we grow personally, then we advance in the material belongings that we have. Those who cannot save a few pennies out of their earnings will never be able to save a few dollars towards a future fortune. The same discipline it takes to put a few coins in the jar every week is the same discipline it takes to open the savings account or manage the investment portfolio. Meaning that until we master the basics and the small scale things, we can never evolve into the higher level arenas. And in closing, the future rewards are always there for waiting for us. So this is a little bit of, again, of a motivational kind of spiel that Jim likes to end on here. So as certainly as we once dreamed in life, we can dream again. As surely as we once believed, we can believe again. No matter where we are in life right now, we still have the ability to change it all. The journey towards success is a journey of 1,000 steps, and it all begins with a single book or a single promise finally kept. It begins with the awakening of our sleeping spirit brought on by a dream of all that it could be, or any type of moving moment in life can really change our trajectory. The first step in any journey is the most uncomfortable. The first step in the journey is the most uncomfortable. Yet, by taking it, it generates a unique inertia. And if we are committed to just taking a step a day, this inertia can begin to build, and our confidence alongside it to take another step and another. And I'd also put the pain threshold in there as well. So that your confidence and your pain threshold, every step that you take is going to be good. And all we're focused on is just taking another step. Everything comes in phases, and phase 1 is the most difficult as the journey is most unknown in the beginning. A lot of people get scared in this period of time because they often fail. This failure, though, makes sense, as if they had years of experience in this endeavor, they would have already walked that path. So honor this early phase and look forward to phase 2. This is where everything starts to find its groove. So I'm giving a little bit of a detail on, hey, the first couple steps towards your changing better life can just be one thing. And through that, it just needs to be step by step, once a day. Handle that discipline of today, of reading the book, of going to the gym, of meditating, of going to see the therapist, of developing and praying more to the religion of your choice. All of these things, it's just weird and unknown at first, but once you start to build enough evidence that you do this, you begin to change that identity moving forward, which is the end result. One key message to remember throughout all of this is that we must not expect results merely because we took the first step and began the journey, and maybe even the first 4 steps, okay? But here's the promise. With continued effort certain steps will surely come to our future reward. So the goal at the end of the day is to continue to walk, continue to make progress. As they say, the man or woman who loves to walk will always outperform the person who is in love and obsessed with the destination. On that note, I appreciate you guys. This was results part 1. Let's go ahead and keep reading into results part 2. Thanks, guys.